Hello and good evening to all of you. Let's talk about a very different kind of topic. However, it is given in 10th class NCRT of history. The topic is print and modern world. Modern world. How the development of printing press happens and how it revolutionized the whole world. What were those sectors or fields where the impact of print became visible, and how this brought the whole world into a complete different paradigm shift. We will be discussing in our today's lecture, but in this lecture, as the chapter is quite lengthy, so it would not be possible to complete. So, do you have any idea the journey of print started from which country?
Portugal.
The journey of print started in India from Portugal. I am talking in context to the world.
Britain.
You are right. In
Britain.
India, the printing was brought by the Portuguese. Britain.
शायद ब्रिटेन.
Look, Britain can be ahead in some of the fields, no doubt, as industrial revolution was initiated by Britain. But Britain cannot be in the top position almost in every time. The country which initiated the print culture, that was no one else but China. In China, the printing started somewhere around in the late 6th century or the initial 7th century. The question is, why in this time period? Why China thought towards printing only during this duration? The reason is very simple. The scriptures related to Buddhism were supposed to be disseminated across the world. And as you know, the Buddha had taken the birth in 563. After that, the first Buddhist council, second and third, the Buddhist literatures were codified. But after that, how to disseminate those literatures or the information which is given inside these Buddhist scriptures? How to do this? So, China thought about it. And even now, China is the country which has the maximum population of Buddhist people. And there are 4 countries which have declared Buddhism as their state religion. However, China is not among those 4, but undoubtedly China has the maximum followers of Buddhism. So in the late 6th or in the early 7th century, this thing was started. And the technique which was used for printing the information which was given in the Buddhist scripture, however, only Buddhist scriptures were not the things which were being printed. Some other things were also included, but this was, you can say, means a sort of a push factor which activated China in this direction. And the technique which was used in order to generate these Buddhist related information, that technique was wood block printing. Wood block printing. What was being done through this wood block printing? I mean, look, this is the wood block. You can take it, this board as a wood. So what were they doing? That they were carving whatever they want to. There is a piece of paper and you want to spread a message of Buddha or the picture of Buddha or anything, message plus picture. So what you need to do, first you have to carved on this board the image of Buddha and the written material. After that you color whatever color you want, and once this thing is done on that piece of wood, you take the A4 size paper and paste that A4 size paper and rub it. Whatever is written on that wood, it will get printed on that A4 size paper. This was a very time taking and lengthy process, and very skillful people required to write without committing even a single mistake on that wood. So that's how, you can say, a mold sort of structure was created, and once it was created, they printed countless copies and they traveled across the world. So this wood block printing became very famous in China. It was initiated in China, and after China it went towards Japan, because the Buddhist missionaries from China, they went to Japan and they introduced this wood block printing. It required a very, skillful people to produce these wood blocks. People devoted a lot of time to generate those wood blocks and the paintings and all those written materials on that. So this thing in itself has a whole history, how what kind of people and what kind of instruments were needed. In order to write in A4 size, we require only the Reynolds pen or maximum a different one. But to create this wood block, more than hundreds of pens were required. Pens means, the fixed with blades to cut the wood, different sizes, as you have to also generate the picture. So it was a very skillful or very complex matter, but Chinese did it, and after that it reached to Japan, as the Chinese missionaries, the Buddhist missionaries from China, they went to Japan. In Japan it became very famous. But one person, whenever we discuss this print culture, which was initiated in China and went to Japan, one person who is I think the most respected person in Japan in connection to this print. His name is, any idea? Kitagawa Utamaro. Kitagawa Utamaro.
Alpha Beta Gamma.
Kitagawa Utamaro. He was, by the way, he comes very late in the picture, as he belongs to, I think, 17th or 18th century. But he followed this woodblock printing and also generated the paintings of other types. And basically this Kitagawa Utamaro, he was famous for generating the paintings of the Japanese women in a very special manner. And in his pictures or in his paintings, the size of the head of the woman in proportion to their body was comparatively larger. If you type this Kitagawa Utamaro in Google, you will get to know what kind of pictures he generated. During that time, nobody had thought to draw the pictures like those Japanese women. That's why he became a very unique figure in the history of print culture in Japan. And once he generated those pictures traveled in different parts of the world. As this person was related to the pictures related to this Japanese young beautiful woman, he, you can say, developed a different style, because it was an unprecedented attempt done by Kitagawa Utamaro. And that style of painting, because once he started, after that so many people started imitating him, the kind of style he has initiated. And that style of painting in Japan is known as ukiyo. So under this ukiyo style of painting, you can find the pictures of the beautiful women whose heads are comparatively larger in proportion to their bodies. Apart from this, you can also find the picture under this style, the pictures related to this sumo fighter. I mean, very big in size. So these were some of the famous sectors of this style of painting. By the way, this style later on added the erotic pictures. So it developed, a very unique sort of space in the print culture of Japan. But the seed was sown by China only, which was followed by this Kitagawa Utamaro. And this style of painting, which was generated by him, called ukiyo. Now my question is, how, you took the name of Britain, or let's take Europe. How it reached in Europe? How this print reached in Europe?
सब औपनिवेशिक बन गए थे तब तक.
Actually, there is a very famous traveler, explorer. His name is Marco Polo, an Italian traveler. Marco Polo. He came to China in the 14th century, somewhere around, in the I think late 13th or 14th century. This Italian traveler, he spent a lot of time in China. He understood the culture and other things of China, and when he returned to Italy, he introduced about this wood block printing to the people of Italy. And Italy started generating the prints and making the pictures, and they started disseminating their literature across the across the Italy and in other parts of the world. So Marco Polo is an important person who had come to China, got the knowledge of this wood block printing, later on introduced this knowledge in his own country in Italy, and that's how this was known to the people of Italy, and later on it also reached to the other European nations in Britain as well. But this kind of wood block printing, it was a very time taking mechanism, and it was, means required a lots of careness and a high degree of precision while generating this wood block printing. The main thing was that the demand had risen like anything. The students were also hungry to study, and means some of the countries, they had started their civil services exam, and China was one of them. So if you have to take the exam, you have to go through with the books. So the problem was how to tackle this ever growing demand of the study materials and of the other things, because the traders were also that time, they wanted to get the information regarding monsoon and other things. The courtesans were also that time, people were hungry to know what is happening in their life. So everything which was happening that time, people wanted to know about all those things. And to tackle this problem, a person who was born in Germany, whose name was John Gutenberg. John Gutenberg. This John Gutenberg, realizing the ever-growing demand of the printing materials, he invented the first printing press in the world. And the first book which was published by this John Gutenberg, could you tell me what was the name of that book? Bible. And when these Chinese missionaries, they went to Japan, that time in Japan there was a book which was printed, that was based upon the Buddhism religion. The name of that book was Diamond Sutra. Diamond Sutra. You can see it was the first printed book in Japan related to Buddhism. Diamond Sutra. But it was not printed by the printing press which was generated or invented by John Gutenberg, because it comes in a very late, it comes in 1430. And this is the matter of much before than this time. So this Diamond Sutra, which you need to keep in mind, related to Japan, the first Buddhist literature which was printed on the land of Japan, which was influenced by the Chinese missionaries. So this Gutenberg 1430, he invented this first printing press and printed the first book, that is called Bible. And I think he printed 180 copies. 180 copies. Do you know in how many days or in how many hours? 180 copies of Bible. Any idea? It took 3 years. It took 3 years to print 180 copies of Bible. It means 60 copies per year. This speed may seem you like the speed of a turtle, but let me tell you, by the standard of that time, it was very fast speed. So this Bible and the copies, by the way, I think at present time there are not more than 50 copies, the original 180 out of original 180 copies. Rest of the copies where have gone, nobody knows. Only 50s are surviving. When these copies were printed, so the people who are very rich, they purchased. And don't think that every copy was very similar or identical. No, because other than the printing, the decoration on the border of the printing pages, that was done by the hands of the people. So no matter how precisely you do, there will be some differences. If you are realizing or with a careful attention, you will certainly get to know that there is some difference. I mean, in the newspaper, there is a sort of question comes where two images are there and they ask, please find 10 differences. So if you don't look at the picture carefully, you can never recognize. But once you start paying attention, you will get to know that no, there is some mistake. So the same thing was there. And the big merchants, aristocratic people, they had these Bible copies, and as every copy was different, so they became very happy. Why became they happy? Because they thought that no, the copy which I have, it's a unique one, and the copy I have, it's also a unique one. So that's how this printing press of John Gutenberg, which was invented in 1430, initiated the printing of Bible. And after that, this printing press, which took birth in Germany, reached to other parts of the world. And my God, in the next 30 or 40 years, the kind of speed and the technology developed, you cannot even imagine how many copies were possible to get printed by this printing press invented in the year 1430. So unimaginable development happened, and the limitless, countless copies were started producing in due course of time. And that's how when this printing press reached across the world, we human beings realized the print revolution. The print revolution across the globe. The information disseminated, you can say sort of the war of information happened. Something is being printed in support of something, and at the same time, because at that time, the church, which were very powerful, some of the people like Martin Luther King, they were not in the favor of some of the things, so they started criticizing. At the same time, from their side, the people who were being criticized, they also started their propaganda and told that no, this is like this is like, everybody started justifying. The people who, you can say, the consumer of these printing items, they got confused. To whom should we believe? Martin Luther King or the church? By the way, the important thing is not here that Martin Luther King told the right thing or the church told the right thing. The important thing is this: through the revolution of the print, the people started investigating through their mind. They started analyzing by themselves. They started thinking rationally and reached in the conclusion by themselves. It was a big achievement, and this print, we should not see only the piece of the paper. This print should be seen a knowledge which was related to countless fields. If you are reading a different language, Let's take the example, Sanskrit here. So you will understand the whole psychology of the people who are well versed with this language. You will understand their culture. You will understand what they like and what they do not like. So this print changed the whole thought perception of the people. By the way, other things are related to this which I will be discussing in my coming lectures. How this print impacted the condition of the women in India, how this print contributed in the French Revolution, how this print changed the life of the people who belong to the rock bottom of the society, how this print impacted the life of the merchants, how this print impacted almost every sphere of the human history. So this was for today only. I will be continuing this series until this chapter gets over. So we will be discussing other related things to this chapter, print and modern world, in our next lecture. Thank you.